Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to another issue of the Daily Planet. Short week. Short week, holiday week. Very exciting. And hopefully you get some time, whether it's to hang out with family, hang out solo and relax. Hopefully you just get time to do whatever it is that you want to do. It's Tuesday. Once again, I failed at doing a Monday video. I'm not gonna lie, I almost didn't do this video either. Your boy is feeling burnt out, very much so, very much so. I don't know if it's like the combo of just like state of the world and just the content creator. I don't want to say rush, but like you got to like stay on it, right? Like if you're a content creator, if you're a business owner, right? You got to like you got to stay on it all the time, and it's just like sometimes it just starts to weigh on you, and you're like, all right, I need to like chill. So I don't know. I've been toying with the idea of taking like a break, I don't want to say a whole month off, but maybe like a week or so of just like no content. I don't know. Give me some suggestions, please. I think mainly because I love doing this, but I'm also trying to acknowledge the fact that, sorry, voice breaks. I'm trying to acknowledge the fact that like it's also mentally exhausting to like be in the rat race of content creation. So give me some suggestions down below. In more negative news, on this Negative Nancy episode, the Tron HasLab did not back. It did not make it. So, I do feel bad. I do feel bad for the team that worked on it because, as I've mentioned time and time again on the channel, the Hasbro team, so nice. They're really cool. It wasn't I wasn't feeling great about like having to make negative content on that HasLab, but it is what it is. It was what it was. Is that even proper? It didn't make it. It was overpriced, and c'est la vie. Mr. Steve made a bunch of videos, or not a bunch, a couple story posts where sorry, it was not that. He was doing story posts to promote it, but he also did some posts, real like just regular posts, and people were asking questions. People were asking questions and saying things that he was responding, and I was reminded of something that happens a lot with artists. And I'm not going to say I blame any artist for this. But a lot of times with artists, they feel like, I'm actually looking at an example right now. I will not show it on screen, but it was a conversation I had. A lot of artists feel like, they put their heart and soul into whatever it is they're creating, right? Content creation. You put your heart and soul into whatever it is you're doing. Every piece that you make, photograph you take, video you record, art you paint, whatever it is, as an artist, you put your all into it. And the goal is always going to be to monetize your creation. Anybody who tells you different, they're a liar. The goal is always to monetize your creation. And artists fall into this trap of the person coming to them and saying, oh, that's cool. How much does that cost? And artists a lot of times have a hard time separating themselves from the art when it's time to answer the question, how much does my art cost? I can, let's say I made this leather cigar holder, right? Comes with a cutter, and it's airtight, so air is not getting into your cigars. Handmade, leather crafted, metal, aluminum. I buy all the pieces, I assemble it myself. Somebody comes to me and says, how much does this cost? Well, it's handmade. All the parts, the pieces, the time. I'm gonna say $200. $200. Now, to you, the artist, that might sound like a real deal. Amazing deal. $200, handcrafted leather, whatever. To that random person who came to you and asked, "Is my mic not even on right now?" My mic wasn't on. To that person that came to you and asked you, how much does that cost? They may not have any point of reference on cigar holders. They may just be a casual cigar smoker who's like, oh, that's cool. $200 is going to sound wild to that person. Great. Have a nice day. Because they're not a hardcore aficionado of cigar holders. They're literally just a person who thinks it's cool and they may want to grab it. And artists have a hard time separating the two. Somebody who's like a hardcore fan of whatever the art it is from the casual person who's just like, hey, that's cool. How much does that cost? So for Tron, I was watching or reading a comment that he responded to where it's like, like the passion, the team, blah, blah, blah. And that's why the Tron thing costs what it costs. Dude, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It matters to you. It matters to other creators, artists, whatever. But the casual person who you need, and I always go back to the casual person that you're talking to when you're answering the question, how much does that cost? They don't care about your heart, your soul, parts, labor, passion, any of that stuff. It comes down to the dollar. And pushing $300, no casual person's like, I'm buying 4 action figures for $300. I understand what went into it. Other toy YouTubers understand what goes into it. And even we have a hard time justifying the price. But that takes me to Super 7. Super 7 announced that they are finally closing both their brick and mortar locations, one in San Diego, one in San Francisco. And I have equally been going at Super 7 as a fan. I'm a fan of Super 7. I'm a fan of Brian Flynn. I think they make fantastic figures, fantastic nostalgia figures, fantastic reimagines of various figures of people. Holly agrees. But when you take the art, passion, creativity, whatever, and you separate that from the casual person and say, how much does that cost? Every single time a Super 7 figure merits a response of, that's too expensive. I don't care. I don't care. I just want to put a Lemmy action figure on my shelf. I am not spending $20 on a figure that's that big. You'll get somebody as an artist, as a business owner or whatever, you'll get somebody that will pull on that lever. They'll pull that heartstring lever and make like that one-time purchase of like, oh, that thing that's in my mind really overpriced. I'll do it because I rock with you, I support you, blah, blah, blah. You'll get that. But not enough to run a business. Not enough to run a business. And sadly, if the closing of these stores was necessary to help the Super 7 business and potentially even lower prices on things, which they're now combating the tariff stuff anyway. If it helps with that, so be it. It sucks. I absolutely, as somebody who worked retail for a long time, it sucks finding out your store's closing. It sucks going through that process. It sucks working until the close. Like in their case, they're closing January. So now they have just over a month of having to stand there. Hey, welcome to Super 7. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And having to screen question after question, if they're even getting the foot traffic, screen question after question. Oh, I heard you're closing. What happened? It's exhausting. It's, as an employee, if you're a manager, it's exhausting. And they got to deal with that now. So I hope that everybody there lands on their feet who was affected by that closure. But, you know, the writing was on the wall for a long time, to no fault of those employees, that the prices of Super 7 figures have been too high for too long. And now that the tariff showed up, and a complete unknown factor, heads are rolling. Heads are rolling, and heads are rolling on people that we don't even want them to roll on or roll off of, you know. It is what it is. But to end on a good note, on a happy note, tonight, Tuesday, 8:15-ish p.m., we're doing Hair Archer Live. Thursday's Thanksgiving. I was going to do it tomorrow. I was going to do it on Wednesday. But Stranger Things is tomorrow. Part 1 of the season finale. Final season. Not season finale. Final season. Drops at 8 o'clock, I believe, Wednesday night, Netflix. So, not only am I not trying to compete with Stranger Things, I'm trying to watch Stranger Things myself. So, the wife and I have to actually finish the last 2 episodes between tonight and tomorrow. I forgot that they're longer than the standard episode. And then prepare for tomorrow night to watch the beginning of the end of Stranger Things. So, if you haven't caught up, it's time for you to do a binge. And, yeah. Such a good show. I will never stop beating myself up for skipping season 3. Anyway, Hair Archer Live tonight, 8:15. See you then. Support artists anytime you can. But we got to be realistic where we can as well. With that being said, got to make the big bucks. Sorry about the audio. Talk to you nerds in the next issue.